Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk to you about a movie that I recently saw that I think, in my opinion, should win an Oscar. You know, when I heard about the movie, it was disappointing, the things that I had heard, because a lot of friends of mine looked at it and said, oh, this movie is so gory, this movie is so violent. So I really did not know what to expect. The movie, The Joker. In the movie, what is very, very interesting is, I think that what disappoints people is the fact that they went to look at another movie like as if they were looking at Batman and Robin when the Joker was in one of those movies, or the Penguin. But this movie was totally different. This movie was what gave rise to the Joker. And it's something that we all need to really, really focus on and see what is going on. So if you look at the essence of the movie, the Joker is a person that has mental health issues, and basically his whole goal in life is to make people happy. But because of his illness, and then later on in the movie we find out some of the things that happened to him, he ends up having this laugh that he cannot control. So people look at him like he's some type of weirdo. So there's different scenes throughout the movie that really gives us a notion of something that is, I think, is the major problem in a lot of our society today. And that is the issue of mental health. We don't understand mental health, and I believe to a certain extent we really don't even want to understand mental health. See, in The Joker, as you look through the movie, there's elements where he's constantly being bullied by this guys from Wall Street that are supposed to be successful, and he's trying to be a clown just to earn a living. And in reality, it wasn't even about the money for him. It was about the fact that he wanted to make kids happy. So one scene in the locker room where another clown gives him a gun, and the Joker tells him, no, guns are no good for you. Guns are no good for you. But the guy keeps on insisting, and because he does have mental health issues, he takes the gun and keeps it, having no idea what it could happen. So as the movie progresses and we see him in the bus, one scene making faces for a baby, trying to make the baby laugh and entertain the baby, then the mother turns around and curses him. So what ends up happening, the Joker is being bullied, he's being laughed upon. He goes to his doctor, the government, and it's not even like a doctor's office, it almost looks like a probation officer. And he's asking for his medicines, and they tell him they ran out of money, they don't have them, so he's desperately telling them that he needs his medicine. Well, as the movie progresses and the Joker eventually just had enough of people laughing at him, something clicks. And when it clicks, he becomes very, very violent. One of the parts is he goes and finds the file of his adoption because they start laughing at him that he was adopted. And then he realizes that his mother used to allow him, or allow her boyfriend to tie him to a radiator, what created mental illness for him, brain damage. So throughout the movie, you see those elements building up to this volcano inside the man, where eventually he has no choice but to exploit, becomes a Joker, begins to kill people, and then suddenly that becomes his new persona. And that is what's happening in the world today. As we see teenagers committing suicide, or even other people, adults committing suicide, we often say, you know, I never saw it coming. But the truth of the matter is, did we see it coming, or we were just not looking? I suggest we were not looking. Recently I came from a prison where they're doing a very interesting survey. So this lady went ahead and she developed this form with some basic questions of things that we were exposed to as a little kid. So basically, like, were you exposed to violence? Were you exposed to rape? Were you exposed to sex? Well, as I was talking to one of the wardens, he was telling me, when he gives the questionnaire to the guards, most of them find one or two things that they were exposed. But when he gets into the prisoners, he realizes that literally most of the prisoners are exposed to every single one of those questions in the questionnaire. And the answer to the questionnaire is that if you are exposed to a majority of the question, you have mental health issues. So today what's happening is we are going ahead and we're using prisons to warehouse people, when in reality, a lot of these men and women need help. Society needs to look around and realize that, listen, this is a big problem. We need to stop. You know, in the old days, me growing up, if I broke a window playing outside, or if my brother did something, our neighbor would whoop our butt. And then our prayer was that our mother would not find out, because if she did, she would whoop us again. You see, everybody was involved in our lives. Today, we live in a very lonely world. We really don't care about anybody. You know, we don't realize that we have 70,000 people overdosing with drugs every day, no one seems to care. It only seems that we care when it knocks in our house. The jokers will wake up to America that listen. This is how people eventually become violent. As I looked at the Bible and I believe by His word that we were all created perfect. When God looked at us being born, He looked at it and said, it is perfect. So if we are created perfect, what makes some of us become these horrific criminals? I would suggest that our circumstances, our traumatic experiences as a little kid, and eventually trauma creates mental illness. And since we don't know anything about mental health, we don't know how to treat it, then we just incarcerate them and make them worse. Listen, we live in a time where technology has made us a very lonely world. We think that we are connected to the entire world, but in reality, one-on-one, we're connected to nobody. We see our generation that just locks up themselves in the room, and their entire dialogue with somebody else is through a computer. No longer do we visit people. No longer are we involved in their lives and find out what their pains and agony and challenges are. Perhaps we need to learn from our past. We never had this issue. When someone had mental health issues in the past, it was serious issues. But today, there's all kinds of levels. We understand more about it, but we do less about it. So as you go and look at this movie, I believe it should win an Oscar because it really brings awareness to something that is a tragic in our society, and that's mental health. God bless you and have a wonderful day.